What's up, everybody? Ken Yance here with the Bison Tribe, and we are coming to you today in order to talk about the Bison Trek. So, the Bison Trek, as we all know, as members and Red Dogs, this is the opportunity where we really go into the storm and really try to create change and grow in our own lives because what we know is we can't pour from an empty cup. So, we have to be very intentional about these treks. And at this point, you should have already worked on your worksheet, your footprint worksheet that would have given you your score in each of the 5 footprints. And now what we're going to do is take those scores and, we're going to go through the trek. We're about to discuss what that looks like. And guys, the thing about this is it's personalized to you. So as you build this out, challenge yourself. Don't make things so easy that you're not going to really create change. This is, like I said, our motto is go into the storm. And this is what it's all about. This is where the biggest piece of your personal growth, where the biggest impact that you're going to make is going to be in this trek. So we want to make sure that we're very intentional about this and put into work today in order to set everything up. So what we have first here, as you see, the Bison Trek, the 28-day journey that must be completed before becoming a member, and then also once per quarter. So we always do this at the beginning of a quarter, and so we want to make sure that we're doing that 4 times a year. So that's basically a third of your year is going to be spent doing treks. And that's going to change every time, because as you go through this worksheet and do what we're about to embark upon right now, we're going to see where you can kind of tweak this thing each time. Your strengths may become weaknesses over time, and you want to go back and tighten those up. And then, of course, our weaknesses, we want to make sure that we're being intentional and bringing those things up. So as it states here, without an intentional personalized growth plan, we are destined to remain in our current situations. We are created to progress. The Bison Trek creates a customized plan to elevate each footprint of our lives. Through targeted action steps, which is what we're going to do today, we will improve our weaknesses while maximizing our strengths. So as you can see, that is, it's a call to action. We have to create the action steps today that you'll follow on this trek as you move forward. So now I'm going to move on to slide 2. The Bison Trek is this, just like with the Bison Tribe. BISON is an acronym for our core values, and here the Trek is an acronym as well. So the T is where we're going to trade unuseful time, just dead time, time that does not serve our core values or our footprints, and we're going to take that time and shift that and apply it to something else. Quite often you hear people say, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that. The reality is we're spending time in areas that doesn't need our attention, and it's not serving us or our family or those that we are going to look to affect in order to create our legacy. So first thing we're going to do is identify what that trade of time is. Then we're going to do the R is reach, and reach is where you're already at a decent level. So when you go back and look at your scores from your worksheet there for your footprints, you're going to find where, what was my strength? Maybe your strength was a 7, maybe it was an 8. And the reality is the top number is a 10. So listen, sometimes we get complacent and we relax on the things that we're strong at, and we don't really push those and reach the highest possible level because we feel, in comparison to everything else, man, we're doing okay. And as we know, good is the enemy of great. So we don't want to drop the ball on something that we're already good at. We have momentum in that area. Let's go ahead and reach that highest possible level. The next thing is E, which is execute. Guys, when you get to execute, execution to me is like what to do. So it's not about identifying the issue or trying to find the action steps as much as it's just the fact that we don't execute in those areas. And so the execute is going to take the top 2 lowest rated footprints that you have, and you're going to create action steps for those. And then the key there is just execute. I mean, I wouldn't make those extremely difficult. because you got more than likely you got a long way to go. And if you got to lose 100 pounds, don't set yourself up, to run a marathon every day. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna overreach. You're not going to be able to accomplish it, and then you're going to fall back into that same trap you fallen into so many other times. So create steps that are going to improve you, kind of get you to raise up, but things that you could actually do for 28 straight days. Okay, so that's execute. And again, we're going to focus on two footprints there, and really try to push and execute on those to make improvement. And then the last thing is the K, and that is kill a demon. So identify a demon in your life, man. What are the things that we know are holding us back? And those are demons, man. They could be things from long ago. It could be current things that you're dealing with. It could be smoking. It could be drinking. It could be pornography. It could be, many things. It could be sugar. It could be, all types of different things. But we want to identify what that demon is, and we want to be intentional and create a game plan where we can go in and kill that demon in the 28 days that we have here. And the guys, the thing is, what we're trying to do here is just make progress. We're not trying to, completely overhaul ourselves and just be a brand new, shiny new you in 28 days. Into the storm isn't about sprinting through the storm. It's about putting your head down, one foot in front of another. You're going to have snow, you're going to have sleet, you're going to have wind. It's going to get difficult. The snow may be up above your knees, man, but you're just on a trek. You are just going through this storm. And it's just one step at a time. You're not going to try to sprint through it. You're not going to try to just like run up hills and do all this craziness, man. It is a journey. And so we have to create a game plan, a trek that we can go, and we know that we can follow these steps and make that improvement. We're not trying to take, let's say your worksheet showed you as being a 5. We're not trying to make you a 10. We're not trying to make you a 9 or an 8. We're trying to get you to be a 6 or a 7. Sometimes we shoot so far, so high, and then whenever we don't reach that goal, then we feel defeated again. We feel like we're once again, here we are. I told myself I was going to do this, and once again I let myself down. So this time it's different because you got a tribe behind you. You're going to have a trek partner that's going to team up with you. Y'all going to hold one another accountable, and by being in this tribe, you have the best possible chance to be successful. And you can see on the ticker at the bottom, it says, if not now, then when. All these things that we're talking about here, that we went over in the worksheet process, are things that need to be done. And you've owned that yourself. Everybody fills out their own worksheet. Nobody stepped in and said, no, this needs to be your score. No, that was on you. And because we're an accountability group and not an affirmation group, we're here to help you be accountable and to take these steps in order to reach those goals and improve in those areas. So that's the Trek. That's what it stands for. And now we're going to move into the action steps. So let's go right quick to the end. And so this is the worksheet. So the worksheet just basically shows you there. The Trek is a personalized 28-day journey. Each bison will take 4 times per year. They will never trek alone. That's the key. You're going to have a trek partner, okay? 2 or more bison will partner, join in a chat, and hold one another accountable to the decision that they made to themselves, to their families, and to their tribe. So as you select these action steps, understand that we are responsible for one another on this trek, okay? You cannot, I can't emphasize this enough, okay? You cannot let your trek partner fall off. You have to hold them accountable as if it's your child, as if it's your spouse, as if it's your loved one. And you have to, so often we know that we make promises to ourselves that we don't live up to when we would make promises to other people that we would. So what you're doing now is you're promising your partner, dude, I'm not going to let you fail. Okay. I'm not going to let you fail. And then, on the other side, they're going to tell you the same thing. And that's the power of the tribe. That's the power of being, not a lone wolf out there. You're actually out here with a team and a group that's going to help hold you accountable. But we have to do that for one another. Okay, guys? So just keep that in mind. So now we move back over. So we got three footprints we got to work on. Obviously, your highest scored one, and then your two lowest scoring ones. Okay, and then there's your demon. You're going to write out what that demon is, and then you're going to just chart out a couple sentences that just going to tell you, yeah, there's action steps in there. Maybe there's benchmarks of what things that you want to accomplish, and then the action leading up to that specific thing that you put on here would be, let's say, for instance, you've got a, you know, you've burned a lot of bridges, man, because of your anger. So, to try to correct that, maybe your demon is that you've created through your anger. You've had fallen outs with family members, and you've not shown empathy. You've been very harsh with other people, and so your demon is anger. Your demon is how you react in those moments. And so create an action plan. Maybe it's a point where you take those people aside and you have intentional conversations and just tell them, look, I was in the wrong. I have my perception, and I'm, made mistakes, and I did this or whatever. So however you lay that out, the bottom line is, that may not be a day by day thing that you do. It may just be some steps in there that you need to hit on over the next 28 days. So some of these will be day to days, and then some of them will be, things that you will do, maybe once a week, and maybe it's not a time on it. Maybe it's just things that you need to accomplish in those 28 days. If it's alcohol, then you need to go to 28 straight meetings. I mean, and that is what it is. And your Trek partner needs to make sure you go or take you, right? That's the commitment level that we need. If just an example, if your family score is kind of down, and whenever family is a wide range, right? I mean, you could have fallen out with cousins, aunts, uncles, your parents, your kids, whatever it is. And so those action steps are going to be different. But let's say that it's your spouse, and you're not really connected the way you feel like you should be. Then in that case, part of your trek may be, like everybody always says, a weekly date night. And so in reality, if you have a date night once a week, that's in 28 days. That's only 4 days out of the 28. So that's maybe one action step, but then we need to have something that's a daily, right? And maybe it's something as simple as just sitting down, at dinner or something, and just over dinner, sitting actually at a table and having a conversation while you're eating, or just designated 30 minutes, just sit down, no TV, no anything, and just sit there, man, how was your day? And y'all just talk, like whatever that is, but you create those action steps. Okay. So we'll talk about that here as we go back. So now we're going to go back and we're going to talk about the action steps. So, here's an example. So in faith, and we're going to blow this up for you. And these are just samples, guys. This isn't necessarily something that you have to pick from this list. This is just kind of a starter where you're just kind of talking about, hey, here's some options of things that you can do. If faith is a low number for you, then what are some things? And guys, if this is not the something that you're reaching on, which is your higher score, if this is something that you're executing on, which is those bottom two, then I would not pick, things that you can't do. If you pick, read your Bible every day, don't say I'm going to read for an hour. I mean, you're not going to go from 0 to 100 successfully, right? Say, hey, I'm going to read for 10 minutes. I'm going to read my Bible for 10 minutes. I'm going to download an app and listen to, a daily devotional, a little, 5-7 minute podcast. There's all type of apps out there. There's all kind of podcasts out there. Maybe, it's a book that you're going to read over the next 28 days. Of course, that would be separate from our Bison book club, but, however you identify that, your daily morning gratitudes, just before your feet hit the floor, man. Maybe it's while you're drinking coffee, or, while you're getting a shower, or whatever. Just really be intentional about giving those morning gratitudes. Maybe you got a spiritual mentor, someone that, an uncle, a grandparent, a coworker. Say, hey, man, I'm struggling on my faith, man. And I'd really like to just have lunch with you, or sit and talk, when I come to work. Let me get here 15 minutes early and just, kind of talk with you, man. Like, maybe it's go to church, so whatever those are, you create those action steps there. And you're going to jot those down in your worksheet. Okay. The next thing is family. So Again, here that's a wide range, guys, and don't please understand this. Um, this is also family. It's also friends. Like your family, to some people, man, your friend, you're closer to your friends than you are your family. So the important thing is even though it says family, just understand that is your friends. That's your circle, right? Whatever your circle is, that's what we're talking about here. It's not necessarily only your family, and don't think about just immediate family. I know if you pass away and your wife and two kids show up and that's the only people at your funeral, that's going to be a sad, a sad day. Because you want to impact more people than that. You want to, so the people that you want to impact, that's kind of my gauge is like, if I would hope that that person would be at my funeral, just like I would want to be at their funeral, then that's somebody that needs to be considered whenever we do this trek plan. Is that's my family and friends, that's my circle. So, just something to keep in mind there, that it's more than just your immediate family, but show daily appreciations. Maybe each day for 28 days, you pick a different family member, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, someone like that. I went through a stretch here recently, probably over maybe starting a year ago. There's about a 2 year window right there where, man, it was just like, my goodness, after my father passed away, that was, 10 months after my mother had passed away. But then it had a little gap, and then it was like I had a cousin that was younger than me that passed away. Then it was like an aunt, then it was an uncle, then it was another uncle, and it was like, and then another cousin, and it's like within maybe a year and a half, I'm just sitting here looking through photos and through old messages. Just, man, I can't believe all these people left so quickly. So, and those weren't my, outside of my parents, but I'm saying like that other window was uncles and cousins and people. So when you talk about doing something like this, don't show daily appreciations. Maybe you reach out to an aunt, you know what I mean? And you just reach out, hey, aunt so-and-so, man, it's, nice to talk to you. How you been? Just how are you doing? And just touch base with them. So maybe that's something you do. Schedule daily quality time. Man, it's one thing just to hang out with your family in passing, right? You're coming and going, and you get home from work, y'all do that, but it's intentional time. It's like you pull one of your kids out just to go outside and sit on a swing, or just go sit in a room with them. You're going back to maybe to get a shower at the end of the night. Everybody ate, the kids are in there playing video games, something. You just, walk in there, call them out, say, hey, come here, let me talk to you. And then you just sit there. How was your day? How are things going? Just let your kids talk, man, give them the floor. So whatever that looks like, but just intentional time. Perform random check-ins, like I said before, daily appreciations, that's really, I would say the daily appreciations is just making sure that they know how much you appreciate them, you love them, why you love them, what you see in them or whatever. But I would certainly also have these random, random reach outs, for those extended family members. And guys, it's amazing how this feeds over into your fulfillment. It just kind of feeds you in other areas, and just gets your momentum going. So, eliminate distractions, be present with your family, eat one meal a day. Sometimes it could be breakfast. Sometimes it would be dinner or whatever, but just make sure that you guys sit there and break bread with one another, collaborate on shared goals and projects. Just kind of talk, hey man, we really need to kind of, maybe we want to rearrange the furniture in the living room, so let the kids have input. How do you what do you think is a better way? Well, we can put the couch over there. So it's like, just give them something, right? So those type things. Apologize for previous mishandled situations, man. Maybe you're even doing good. Maybe you just brushed something under the rug at some point, and yeah, y'all moved on from it, but it's still sitting back there, right? Something that you maybe feel like, man, I was in the wrong for that. I acted a certain kind of way. And as family, a lot of times we just brush that and just move on. But how powerful would it be, and how much would it, solidify your relationship and show you in a different light, and really just show you as the bison that you want to be, right? Being the example that you reach back and say, look, man, I know we haven't talked about this, But in that situation, I could have handled that better. So, man, I apologize. I love you, and like I said, I was in the wrong, and just let that be them kind of seeing the change in you that you're trying to hope to get, and that's why we're in this journey. So, that's the family. And again, guys, this is not. These aren't steps that you have to do. These steps. These are just samples of what you can do. Right. So now let's move on. Fitness, guys. Fitness is just there's always going to be a range of people. There's people that get it and they just go and that's part of their lifestyle. And there's people that just procrastinate and don't want to do it. The reality is it's not about just lifting weights or going to a gym. It's about being active and understand where you're at on the scale. If you rate it out at a 2 to 5 in fitness, man, you don't need to say, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the gym 7 days a week," because you ain't gonna do it. Like even with a Trek partner, that is beyond what you are probably capable of right now. I'm not saying that you're not going to work up to that, and I'm not saying that people can't do that. What I'm saying is, if you graded that low, give yourself reasonable goals. I always told guys I'd become a personal trainer, and I always said this: look, if you're that far off track, then just give yourself some small wins. So week 1, I'm going to eliminate sodas, or maybe not even eliminate them. Maybe week 1, I drink 5-6 sodas a day, right? Normally. So week 1, I'm just gonna say, okay, I can have 1 soda a day, but it can only be with dinner or it can only be with lunch. So I'm not saying you can't have one. You get one, but you get one, right? And then week 2, I'm going to cut them out completely, right? Week 3, I'm going to cut out fried foods. I'm just saying, like, give yourself like 1 week increments, and each time you keep whatever you did previously, but now that's become a little bit easier, and then you add something. So by the end of 4 weeks, maybe you've cut out sodas altogether. You've got cut out all fried foods. You're not eating past a certain time, right? And you're not eating more than X amount of calories a day, whatever it is. I'm just saying, like, just giving you some ideas of how you can build this thing out, right? But there's some samples there. You can see them for yourself. Some different ideas. Obviously, if fitness is not one of your weaknesses, then you're not gonna you're gonna have to kind of come off of this a little bit differently. But pretty much what you're doing. If you're 8, 9, something like that already in this area, then you just got to challenge yourself in a different way. But here's some samples there, guys. It's pretty self-explanatory. Most of our tribe chapters are going to have a few people in the tribe that are a little bit more experienced in this area and would be able to reach out and help you along the way. So that's that. Okay. Next is finance. So finance action steps. Create and maintain a budget. Take your lunch with you every day. You make dinner. Hopefully you're eating a little bit less at dinner. So now just take the leftovers, put them in a container, and you eat off of that, guys. If you eat out, for lunch 3 days a week, I mean, you just blew $30-$40. End of the month, that's maybe the insurance payment for your car or something. So that stuff adds up, right? Create an emergency fund. So RAGE savings goals. So that's reverse engineer your goals for your savings. So for a monthly, if I'm trying to save, how much money do you want to save this year? I want to save, $5,000 this year. I'm just using a number, right? Divide that by, 52 weeks, or really, 52 weeks. And then just take whatever that number is. Okay, I've got to save this much per week. So now let's look at what I'm spending. One of the a powerful way to do that is go back and look over the last 60 or 90 days at your ATM receipts or your bank statement, and then also your credit card statements, and look and see where your money's going and categorize those things in each area and see where can I find this, $200 a week or $100 a week or $50 a week. Where can I find that where I can kind of, trade that out, right? So we can go ahead and start building that fund out. So, yeah, so there it is. Shop your insurance. I mean, that's a common thing. We probably need to do that annually sometimes. Those rates will start creeping up on you, and there's always a kind of a better deal out there. So, there's an easy way to save a decent amount of money a lot of times. So, next is fulfillment. And, this is kind of the widest range thing that we talk about, like fulfillment. What does that mean? And I kind of explain it like this. It's like, you know, getting that feeling that, you know, you did something good. It's a time that, I used to sit and just a quick backstory, not getting anything really deep, but man, I would spend every Saturday and Sunday, I'd bring three TVs into my living room, and I would just have that games on three or four TVs, like Wild Wings at my house. And, you do that for, 16 weeks for the football season, and then and then playoffs, and then, then you got bowl games, and so it's pretty much, almost, mid January or late January, early February, all the way back to, the last week of August, the first week of September, is where these games start going with preseason and everything like that. And it's like, man, I work all the time during the week, and then the weekends I'm doing all this. So, I didn't realize I wasn't fulfilled, but once I stopped doing that and was able to go to the park and go play tennis and go do other things with my family and go to the movies or whatever, it's like, man, I felt so much more fulfillment. That's what that was. Yeah, it made my family closer. I spent more intentional time, and it was that fulfillment, right? There's times where, I kind of, got into that thing where a lot of people, you'd hear about people paying for the car behind them in line in the drive-through, and I would do something like that every now and then. And it's that feeling that you get after you do something like that. I feel like that's fulfillment, right? That's it, right? Even thing is something as small as dropping a $5 bill in the Salvation Army bucket. Like, it's just that little thing, at church when, you're normally going to do your tithes anyway, but then you do an extra offering, for something, a mission trip or something else that you're doing. It's like, whatever that looks like, that's fulfillment, right? Giving back, however that looks. But so that's pretty much what we're talking about there. But so your daily gratitudes are big. ID and pursue joyful activities, man. What gives you joy, man? What do you enjoy? You enjoy drawing, you enjoy art, you enjoy crafts. Then go to Michael's and grab a little crafts thing and do it with your kid, or just do it on your own instead of watching a ball game at night, or watching soap operas, or whatever it might be. I don't, I'm just saying, it goes back to that trading bad time for good. But just whatever gives you joy, do more of that, right? Set and pursue meaningful goals. A lot of us, people that I talk to, man, it's amazing. A lot of people don't have their goals. They don't have them written out. Like, I use this analogy sometimes, is there's, sometimes you say, hey, I'm doing good. People say, yeah, I'm doing good. Well, okay, but you're doing good. But I mean, if I took a message bottle, wrote a message and threw it in the bottle and threw it out in the ocean, there's times that it would be doing good. I mean, the water be calm. It'd just be floating right along. Everything's hunky dory. And then there's storms going crazy or whatever. But yeah, there's going to be times you're good, but you don't know where the hell you're going. Like, you could end up in China. You could end up in South America. You could end up at, in Canada. Who knows, man? Like, yeah, you're doing good, but is it intentional? Are you moving towards what you want, your goals, right? So set goals, personal, professional, relational, set actual goals, and then work towards that. But anyway, it's going to give you a lot more fulfillment, I promise you, when you're taking these action steps, moving towards something that you're trying to achieve. So just skimming through some things there, you can see them for yourself. Find, participate in volunteer opportunities. Inventory your circle, and eliminate negativity. Maybe there's some things that aren't serving you, man, some relationships that aren't serving you. And so eliminate those. Be where your feet are, man, Rick. I heard that a lot before, and I didn't really get it until I got it. And then when I got it, it was like, okay, my phone needs to go on mute. I need to sit here and not keep looking at my phone. I need to, cut off the TV, sit with my daughter. I need to go sit outside, and just sit, and just maybe I go out and play catch, or maybe I, whatever it is, whatever it looks like. Maybe call someone, a close loved one, and just sit there and just talk, hey, how's it going? How's the week going? So a lot of this fulfillment kind of blends in with some of the other steps. It blends in with your faith. It blends in with your family, right? So anyway, just giving you some ideas there, perform daily acts of kindness. We just talked about that, paying it forward, paying for somebody behind you, learn and engage in a new hobby. So whatever that looks like, guys, that's the different opportunities that we have. Okay. So now that's all the footprints. That's just some sample of the action steps that you can take. Take those action steps, fill in your sheet, give yourself 2 action steps per footprint that you're working on. Again, your highest rated one, you know, hone that thing in, man, dial it in. The more you ignore your strengths, the more they will become your weaknesses. So go ahead and really be intentional and reach new levels. And then the E is execute. That's 2 action steps for 2 different footprints, right? So whatever your 2 weakest are, create those action steps, throw it in there, and then identify your demon. And then pretty much the same thing. You're coming up with the action steps, but it's a little bit more, you got to be a little bit more strategic. So really talk that through. And maybe you talk to another BISON member or your spouse or whatever, but get some input on that as well. You don't necessarily have to figure out how to beat a demon by yourself, because if you could do that, you probably already done it, right? So let somebody help you. That's what this is about. That's the connectivity of the tribe. And that's how we're here to, serve one another and be there for each other. So that's pretty much the trek, guys. Again, be intentional about this. Take a little bit of time and really set something up that you know that you can execute. Make it uncomfortable. It's got to be somewhat uncomfortable. Don't make it impossible, because we're going to do this 4 times. We want you to go from a 5 to a 6 or a 5 to a 7. You don't need to ace this thing and knock it out the park and become, if you're weak on fitness, we don't need you competing for Mr. Olympia in 28 days. That's not the goal of this, right? It's just to improve. When you think back to the questionnaire that we had to fill out your worksheet for the footprints, guys, understand, like, there was 4 questions for each category. If it's a low scoring thing, you probably had some no's in there. Just get those up to sometimes, right? Just get those no's up to sometimes, and then have a few yeses in there, right? The goal is 4 yeses, perfect 10. That's awesome. But we just want to bring up, we should have no zeros. Zeros have to come up to at least sometimes. You got to be at least working on it and making that progress. And then as you do that in all 5 areas, you're going to see yourself grow. And guys, what's going to happen is, the next time around, more than likely, because this intentionality that you're going to create on this trek, your grade, your scores are going to change. And now your next execute on your next trek are going to be more than likely different footprints that you're going to work on. And we're just going to slowly keep juggling this thing and improving in different areas, and just steadily pull this thing up as a tribe and be able to make the impact that we want to make. So guys, remember our core values, okay? Be the example, impact your community, serve your family, overcome your demons, and never stop growing, guys. And this trek is going to help you do that. And just lean on your trek members, okay, guys? Till next time, we'll see you later.